So it seems like the Lakers kind of have their team in place. Of course, they can make other moves, but you go down the depth chart, and it is kind of the team it's going to be, I guess. And I could talk about that, but I'd rather just talk about Demarcus Cousins because, I don't know. I think a lot of the other things they did, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, KCP, like some of those are going to work themselves out, some of them whatever. But I think Boogie could be a pretty big X factor. So, first question I have is if he is going to start. I mean, if it was up to me, Anthony Davis would start at center, but I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't think AD wants that all the time. So it's between JaVale and Demarcus, and I guess you decide that in training camp. I'm not really comfortable saying who should start as of right now. I mean, if JaVale is going to come in looking like the guy that he was for the first maybe 15 games for the Lakers last year, then I guess it's him. But maybe Demarcus could be that guy who was really good for the Warriors, at least that one game in the finals. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Demarcus's offensive potential definitely higher than JaVale's, even with where Boogie is at in his career at this point. On the flip side, I think JaVale's defensive potential is higher. So, I guess in the end, they're probably going to end up sharing a decent amount of minutes. I don't think one guy is going to be playing 1 million and the other guy is going to be playing like 4. Unless we see Demarcus of a few years ago, but with the injuries and his weight and whatever else, it is tough to think that we're going to see that at this point. But I guess that's number one. Now, to add to that, I still think Anthony Davis should be playing center in the closing lineups. So whether that's LeBron, Danny Green, Kuzma, AD, and then Jared Dudley or KCP or Avery Bradley or Rondo or something. I don't know who, but I think JaVale and Boogie should both not be at the center spot for the end of games. Anyway, let's look at what can DeMarcus do offensively. I mean, he had some moments as a three-point shooter for Golden State, and I have to think that he's going to still be able to make jumpers. And if that is the case, then you've got some real potential for some 5-out lineups. I mean, yeah, defenses will probably still dare guys to make shots. I mean, Kuzma's three-point percentage has not been amazing throughout his career, and LeBron can be streaky with his jumper, and they're still going to dare Boogie to make shots. But at the same time, you can't leave any of these guys super wide open either. They're going to have to respect shooters way more on this team than they did a year ago for the Lakers, and having a center who can be a part of that is always very interesting, and it can kind of take your spacing to another level when the offense is really clicking and guys are making their shots. So Boogie could be a part of that. I think if he's playing a lot against second units, he could sometimes kind of dominate. Whether that means he's actually starting or the sixth man, I don't know. I mean, you can always shuffle the lineups to where he's playing against bench players, because when you're looking at the big guys in the league who are playing 15 to 20 minutes a game, not all of them are defensively like that great, so Boogie could have success there. Now at the same time, if all they're going to do is dump it to him in the post, which I guess might be a possibility because depending on who he's playing with in those second lineups, you might not have a whole lot of creation skills in the perimeter. Now, I guess if LeBron is going to be playing with the bench, then you're totally fine, but I don't know. But if it's not LeBron, there's not really anybody else who can consistently beat guys off the dribble, playing the pick and roll and all that. I mean, maybe Rondo's got a pulse. Caruso could be all right, but you know what I mean. So if it's just throwing it down to Boogie in the post against other 7-footers, I don't know if he's going to be able to dominate like that. But if you just get him moving in some sort of capacity, then I do think he can take advantage of a lot of second units. Now, against starters, I think DeMarcus is going to have to be content with the fact that he might be number 4 in the pecking order at this point, with Kuzma being number 3. And if he's cool with that, and he can do what I said before, which is just be content with knowing that you're helping by spacing the floor out, then that can still be cool, because of course he's still going to be able to like finish around the rim and get dump off passes and get offensive rebounds and stuff. So I do think DeMarcus can definitely have value on offense, and sometimes he's going to take 15 shots, sometimes he's going to take like 6, and hopefully he's just okay with doing that. Now, is there a chance that he just comes out of nowhere and really is the Demarcus Cousins of a few years ago? I mean, he's a pretty big dude. He sometimes looked really unathletic for the Warriors, and he was always a little heavier than you'd like him to be anyway. And we're, post Achilles injury, of course, so I'm really not going to bet on it, but I do think he can be better than your average center on offense, which can still be valuable. Defensively, however, could get scary. Now, to be nice, he did have that one game in the finals, and I don't remember which one it was, but he did have one game where he was pretty okay on defense. Now, even so, clearly, whenever the Warriors wanted defense, they put in Looney and they took out Demarcus, right? And that was even with Looney having some injury stuff. I mean, they held on to him for as long as they could because they knew eventually Boogie was just going to get exposed, right, in the pick and roll and all that stuff. So I expect the same things to happen this time around. Now, he does have Frank Vogel coaching him, and Frank knows how to coach defense. You could argue the reasons the Magic years didn't go so well was maybe because the players were kind of bad or whatever. But we've seen Vogel with Indiana have some really good defenses, and maybe he just has a way to not allow Boogie to get killed, whether that's having him back up on screens or maybe even daring him to step up on screens. I mean, that worked for Jokic with the Nuggets, and I would say athleticism-wise, Jokic and Boogie are kind of in the same ballpark. I really don't know what the solution would be. It might even be a team-by-team thing where something's going to work against these guys, not going to work against some other guys. I would expect there are definitely times where Demarcus is going to get pulled because his defense is just simply not going to do it no matter how hard he tries. And that is a little frightening, seeing as you've already got 45-year-old LeBron, and we know what his defense is like. And I guess it's possible that Anthony Davis could cover up some of the problems that Boogie could have defensively, but teams are still going to go at DeMarcus a lot. So I guess where I end up on this is I think Boogie can be good on offense, and he's going to be meh to below average on defense. I should also mention his passing. If he has an opportunity to really use the playmaking, that could be really cool, but between how much LeBron's going to have the ball and a lot of the other stuff's going to go to Anthony Davis, I just don't know how often Boogie's really going to get the opportunity to make plays for other guys. But again, if he is the main dude on the second unit, then perhaps that could be a way for him to just show off his playmaking a little bit more, because he is a pretty damn good passer when he gets the opportunity. So I think best case scenario for Boogie is he's basically Enes Kanter for the Blazers in these previous playoffs, where a little better on defense, and then through being big and playing hard and having finishing abilities and all that, ended up being a net positive. But the fear would be he sucks on defense, and then offensively, he's just not the same guy for whatever reason. We'll see what happens. They got him cheap.